Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday morning. I am going to do our weekly review here on the Dynasty and Redraft Leagues. I do have a new mic. I purchased a mic, so I think that I will sound a lot better going forward. So hopefully that works out. If it doesn't, please let me know and I'll look into it. But we're going to dive right into this today, try to go through it quickly. Got about 30 minutes before I start my actual job. So, so we're going to run through these real quick and give my thoughts here. Normally I start with trades. I don't think there's been any trades this week, so we can skip over that. Lots of waiver wire claims here. Well, not really lots of two waiver wire claims. Both defenses there. So I did drop Trey Harris, which Bryce was excited for, but I don't think he's going to work out. Let's see what he did last night. I don't even know what he did last night, to be honest. I fell asleep. Yeah, he only got 4.5 points. He let's see here. He had 3 targets. Sorry. So yeah, it's gonna be an offense that spreads out the ball a lot. So I did drop him for defense. Anything else notable here? I don't think anything really too notable on this. I did pick up Juwan Johnson, which you'll see here in a second. I'll talk about that, but needed someone to stand in for Brock Bowers. Wasn't sure if he was going to play or not. He did end up playing, but I don't think at full capacity. So let's see here. Anything else that stands out? No, not really. Not really. Okay, so let's look at our matchups this week. It's always to start with me, so I apologize, but we'll get my matchup in Pirtles out of the way here. So I won 149 to 123, so pretty good little buffer there. So I had a good score this week. All my team kind of did well, except for Marvin Harrison there. He did not do well, but everyone else did average to well, DJ Moore also didn't do too hot this week. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take 149 points. So overall, on Pirtle's side there, his team did pretty well. Genty's just off to such a slow start. I did watch the first half of that game last night, and he was making some rookie mistakes, got taken out of the game. So we'll see what happens if he can fix his blocking and some of the other mistakes that he was making. Sometimes it looks like he was just standing there watching the game. I saw a couple plays where, he could have been blocking, but he was just like standing back watching. So when they review that film, I'm sure they're going to see the same thing, and he's going to hopefully fix that for Pirtle. I think Genty is a great runner, so hopefully he'll get up and going soon. If not, then, for someone that is rebuilding, he could be a good buy low candidate, but I think Pirtle's kind of in that rebuilding category. McCaffrey is still healthy. So long as he stays healthy, Pirtle's going to be in this. Pirtle's going to have a shot for playoffs and maybe more. Mahomes did what he usually does, about average there. I will say Josh Allen underperformed and, kind of blow out against the Jets. He didn't really have to do much, so that's unfortunate, but I think he'll bounce back this week with Miami coming up Thursday night. Let's see here. Devontae Adams, against Tennessee. That whole team did well. Puka did well, I think, as well. I believe Kyron also put up a good game there. Unfortunately, Pirtle's got Chase Brown. He's going to suffer from the Joe Burrow loss, I think. Zay Flowers did okay. He got 11 points, but he had a lot of targets there. 11's a lot of targets. He even had a carry, so I think he's going to be a future superstar on Pirtle's team. Pearsall, backup QB, can't really say much about that. He got 6 targets, though, so that's not too bad. All right, yeah. Let's check out the benches here. See if anyone popped off on the bench. I did have Quentin Johnston on the bench. I'm going to have to figure out how to get him in my lineup. I might have to play him over Marv because Marv's not been doing good. I thought he would pop off more against Carolina. Did not happen, so I might have to bench Marv. Let's see here. Burrow had D-Hop on there, which just had 2 targets. He had a good score because he caught both of his targets at a touchdown, but that makes it a little more less dependent. Same with Butte. He had 1 reception for 16 yards and a touchdown. So his score looks pretty okay. but only get one target's not really a good sign. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it. Of course, Seahawks defense popped off, but I also played the Cardinals defense, and they ended up being about the same. So, all right, let's go to our next matchup, which is going to be Isaac and Seegers. Isaac had won this matchup by almost 20 points there. Wow, with Justin Fields being out, he played 3/4 of that game, so you can't blame this low score just on that. He just did not do good this game like he did against the Steelers. Some people are thinking maybe the Steelers defense is not as good as they thought because it's been 2 weeks and they haven't really done much. So Buffalo's defense stepped up. Justin Fields was shut down. Jalen Hurts on the other side here did not do what you thought he was going to do. They basically just controlled the game on the ground most of the time. They didn't really have to do a lot of throwing, so he didn't put up the greatest score. James Cook certainly carried Isaac this week, 25 points. I think he ended up being the top or one of the top running backs this week. So good for Isaac there having James Cook. And everyone else here, just kind of middle of the road. CeeDee Lamb only had 15 points. I thought he'd have more in such a high-scoring game. He didn't get any touchdowns. That's the issue right there. He getting touchdowns. He had 11 targets and 112 yards, but no touchdowns. So I think his touchdowns will be coming. So hang in there, Ryan, and you'll see what happens. Just looking at the rest of the stuff. Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, check in on our trade Isaac to see what happened there. They didn't have the best showings this week, unfortunately. Like I said, for Smith, Philly just kind of controlled the game on the ground, so didn't throw too much. I mean, he had 6 targets, but that's probably, I guess, about average, maybe a little low. And then Garrett Wilson, he had 8 targets, but just couldn't catch them. I didn't watch that game, so I'm not sure if they were uncatchable. Most likely they were with Justin Fields, but we'll see there. Let's see. Anything else? Shaheed actually popped off. He had a green score there, so he overachieved. And then, okay, here's why Isaac won right here. I see it now. He had Aubrey and the Baltimore defense carry him pretty hard as well. Aubrey almost scored more points than James Cook. That is crazy. So, yeah. Hopefully that will continue for Isaac. And then you have Jared Goff popping off on the bench. I don't know if anyone expected such a big game out of the Lions after last week, but they did. They put up, the typical Lions stats. So we'll see if they continue that. Anyone else on the bench here? No, not too much to talk about on the bench, I don't think, on that one. All right, we're going to go ahead and go through the next one here, which is Kelly and Bryce. I think Bryce had the highest score this week. Oh, if I can click the right buttons. Yeah, Bryce had the highest score this week. I had the second highest, though, so we'll see who ends up with most points for the year. I think it'll be me. We'll see what happens, though. But yeah, Kelly and Bryce. Kelly's team did good. He had 131 points, which actually would have beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the people. So just an unfortunate matchup for Kelly to run against Bryce this week when Bryce's team is popping off pretty good. And really Kelly's downfall here was Derrick Henry got 1.3 points. And I put Derrick Henry in all my pick'em slips this week almost, and I lost all of them because I just wanted him to get one touchdown, and then I would have made some money maybe. But that's okay. It's how it works. Just betting a few dollars here and there, so not a big deal. Yeah, Lamar did Lamar things. Achane, I think he was the second or third highest running back this week, so he did really good. As I mentioned earlier, though, Bryce's team, he's got Hubbard that did pretty decent. He's still getting a lot of work there in Carolina. Puka and Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra is going to be the star this week for Bryce's team, I believe. He had 3 touchdowns. That's crazy. So sorry to Kelly for having to face Amon-Ra this week in Dynasty. Alrighty. And then, Zach Ertz did pretty well for Washington. I'm not sure what Washington's going to do if um, Jaden Daniels misses time. Sorry, brain fart there. But yeah, and something else to talk about here is Kenneth Walker. He flipped the script this week. A lot of people were starting to fade him and go into Charbonnet after last week. And then now this week, Kenneth Walker's like, nope, I'm still a guy. So we'll see what happens going forward. I'm assuming they'll still split. Maybe a high-hand approach. Kenneth Walker is probably the more talented back still, but you never know what happens. If one of them goes down, the other one's going to be a instant, maybe league winner. So we'll see what happens. JSN did pretty good. He didn't catch a touchdown. 10 targets, 103 yards. If he would have caught a touchdown, he'd been at 20 points or more. So, yeah, he's still doing JSN things. Let's see here. Buffalo's defense popped off pretty good. Let's see. We'll check on the benches here. See what Kelly could have done. Maybe different. Nick Chubb, Algier, Dobbs. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you could have done to make up that deficit. Bryce has Odunze on the bench. Fortunate for Odunze's breakout game this year. He definitely may be startable going forward. I don't know who Bryce could take out. Maybe Marion Hampton. I would say probably sub Marion until he proves otherwise for Odunze maybe. Because Hampton, he was a high pick in the draft for the rookie draft. And even in the NFL draft. And he's not panned out so far. So he's got 15 attempts and 8 attempts. So you want to see this 8 attempts to be a bit higher last night, but it's okay. All right, let's go on to Brent and Rance here. Rance won by about 16 points. See anything too notable in here. Jordan Love, I think he's going to be set up for success this year. The Packers defense is going to be probably the best defense this year. So hopefully that gives Jordan Love more time on the field, more opportunities. Now, flip side of that, they could just start running up the score and then, maybe take the foot off the gas. So I'm not sure if they'll what they'll do in that situation. But still, Jordan Love, great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers just couldn't get it done against the Seahawks like he did last week against the Jets. If only he could play the Jets every week, but he can't. So he only got 10 points. Bijan, he did pretty decent. It wasn't the high scoring this week, but he was up there, and I think the top 10. Let's see here, among running backs at least. Let's see what else we can talk about here. Tet, being a rookie, he's getting 10 targets. That's pretty good, and 100 yards. If he got a touchdown, I mean, he would have had a bit more points there. Waddle did pretty decent this week. Bounce back game for Miami. They still lost, but from fantasy perspective, their stars put up more points. Juwan Jennings did excellent. I don't think anyone. I think this is his first game back after injury. I don't know if he's back last week. I don't remember, but he did really great this week. Tucker Kraft, 21 points. Wow. I'm sorry that Brent lost having Tucker Kraft pop off like that, but it's how it happens sometimes. For Brent, he's got Travis Hunter. I'm not sure what to make of Travis Hunter. There we go. Last week he had 8 targets. This week he had 6. So not bad on the targets. Just not sure. I think there's a lot of questions around Trevor Lawrence right now. All right. And then looking at, Pittman, I think could have done better. Denver's defense is pretty good, though. So, Kareem Hunt and the flex there. Let's see, Brent. Who could you have played maybe over Kareem Hunt? That I would have played. I wouldn't have played Wandale. He did pop off, though. Maybe an opportunity to sell high to somebody. Maybe grab a 3rd-round pick for him somewhere. Or a 2nd round maybe if you can get him to someone that really needs a receiver and they believe in him. Yeah, I think I would have played Jerome Ford over him, but Judkins is back, so maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up there. You just need to get one more really good depth piece there to fill in your flex, but overall, looks like it was a decent game. Both defenses had -5. Both kickers had 12. That's pretty funny, actually. So So yeah, overall, there's not a lot to talk about here. Just rants this week this year. Sorry, Brent. Let's see here. And then the last one here is Drew and Jody. Let's see here what we can talk about. Daniels. Okay, Daniels is going to maybe miss some time, or he may be a bit more limited. He's not going to run as much, I don't think, with that MRI on his knee. Let's see here if he's got a backup QB. He's got Dak, which is a great backup QB. I think he's going to be fine. So, yeah, he'll probably just insert Dak this week. And then, on Jody's side, he's got Burrow that's going to be out for the season. Let's see who Jody's got. He's got Stafford and Young, so very streamable quarterbacks. I think he'll be okay. There's a chance he could go out and try to trade for a stud QB to help ensure his fourth win, since he's a 3x champ, is making 4x. We'll see if he wants to trade with somebody. I don't know who's out there who has the ability to give a quarterback right now, but I'm sure they can look. That's going to hurt Jamar Chase, which actually I think a lot of his production came in after Browning took over for that game. So we'll see what happens going forward. I think Jamar Chase will still be decent. The issue for Jody, I think, is he's got Higgins and Chase. I'm not sure if backup QB can support both of them. So, but try and sell them right now would be kind of tough. So we'll see what happens if he's able to hang on to them and keep playing them. Jefferson did not do well. J.J. McCarthy's going to be out, I think, this coming week. So Carson Wentz is coming in. See what Carson Wentz does with this team. He'll probably pop off. Sam Darnold did good last year. If Sam Darnold can do it, Carson Wentz can probably do it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens for him. And then looking at the other side here, Kamara did not do great. Javonte did good. I'm kind of regretting trading Javonte to Drew now, but I did get Brock Bowers, which didn't play this week. So Javonte actually may be just a league winner. He's the RB2 right now for the season. So he's a person that, Drew, if you decide that you're wanting to rebuild, he's a tradable piece right now. He's a young QB, young RB running back, and he is, has some good value right now. So you may be able to trade him to a team that's contending. You're 0-2 right now, so start thinking about if you're going to contend or rebuild. If you're going to rebuild, now's the time to kind of sell Javonte, I think. Even Pickens, when your guys have those big games, try to capitalize on that is my advice. Now you do what you want, but I would say try to shop it around, see what you can get some picks if you can, or get some younger wide receivers. When you rebuild, my philosophy is always to start with receivers, since they usually typically have a longer lifespan, and then build into running backs. So that's kind of what I did. We'll see if that pans out though. Still not sure. And let's see here. Anything else to talk about? Dobbins did really good this week in Denver, which I think means that R.J. Harvey did not do too well. Let's see here. Let me check R.J. Harvey. I don't remember who had him. Yeah, he only had 2.9 points. So being a rookie, he may not have the opportunity this year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. Kind of looked at the bench a while ago, but both had some veterans in Stevenson, Keenan Allen. JMO had a good game, so I know a lot of people were kind of down on him after last week, because I don't think last week he had 4.6 points last week. So so that is the Dynasty. I've got about 15 minutes. I'm going to fly through these here on the redraft, and I won't probably be able to do a recap for or a predictions part here. Just gonna run out of time, but let's see here. What I might do is break this into two, actually. So I'm gonna keep the Dynasty here this week, and then I'm gonna do a redraft episode later tonight, and then that will be maybe a little bit better instead of trying to rush through it. So let's go ahead and do a week 3 preview on Dynasty. Okay, so in our week 3 preview, let's see here. So we got myself and Seegers going at it this week, week 3. Let's see if the events have any injuries or anything that we should be worried about. He's got Xavier Worthy out. Did he start Xavier Worthy last week? Let's see here. No, he didn't. Okay. It's just putting him in there because I guess it assumes that if he plays, he'd be the best player. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. But so 140 to 132, but he's got Worthy. It's projected for 11 points. Okay, so I don't know if Worthy's going to play this week. So if he doesn't, let's see who he's got on the bench they can play. Aaron Jones is going to be out this week. Let's see here. Yeah, he's got Pacheco, Shaheed, Okonkwo. I mean, I'm not sure if he's going to have a good person to replace there. Let's see here if I can. Let's see here. Waste some time. I was trying to see if I could. That's not working. All right. Well, this web app doesn't let me see your taxi squad, so not sure if you have on taxi, but yeah. Let's see here. I mean, I'm gonna say I'm gonna win every week. By the way, just so you know, my team is pretty good. Not sure if I will play Marvin this week. I probably will sub in Quentin Johnston, thanks to Jody for dropping him. And then I think Bowers will be back this week in more capacity. So I'll keep watching the practice reports. So we'll see what happens. If not, I got Johnson off the waivers, and he's pretty serviceable actually. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna beat Seegers this week. Got Kelly and Isaac. Projected to be a pretty close matchup, 6 points. Isaac's gonna have to sub his QB. So again, he had, I can't remember. He's got Goff against Baltimore on Monday night. I think that could be a pretty good game, high scoring game. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a close one. I'm not sure. It's kind of a toss up. It come down to the flexes most likely, because both of y'all are pretty set on your starting running backs, and your wide receivers are pretty decent. McLaurin's really, I guess, not done good this year, but maybe he'll break out against Las Vegas this week. We'll see. So for my guess on this one here, man, it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be our closest match of the week. This is before waivers, obviously, so waivers may change things a bit. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the upset for Isaac. I'm gonna say Isaac's gonna have an upset. We'll see what happens though. I really don't know. That's a close one. I think it'll be close. All right, we'll move on there. All right, we got Pirtle and Jody. I think Pirtle's gonna spank Jody this week. Look, 19 points. No Joe Burrow there. Let's see, but he's gonna put in Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, so add like 15 points. So it's gonna be a little bit closer maybe than I thought as far as the projections go. But yeah, as long as Pirtle's team's healthy, he's got the upside there, and I think with Jody having, he'll start 3 Bengals still, so I think that's gonna hurt him a bit. Jefferson's gonna be down a bit this week with McCarthy out, I think. Unless Carson Wentz comes in there and does good, we'll see what happens. Taylor's gonna have a decent week. Williams may not. That Philly defense may stop Williams, so I think he may have a down week. Warren will probably have a decent week against Tennessee, I would say. But overall, yeah, I think I'm gonna give this one to Pirtle. Sorry, Jody. Alrighty, and looking at Drew and Brent here this week. Let's see here. Yeah, Jordan Mason being now the only running back in Minnesota. Sorry, could not think for a second. But he's the only running back there. He's got Lyle McConkey, Pickens. Yeah, I mean, Drew, I think he's got the better team this week. So we'll see what happens there. Um, Even if Daniels goes out, he's gonna just plug in. Most likely he'll pick Prescott. I would say that's who I would pick, at least going against Chicago. I think Prescott is gonna have a great game this week. Um, so yeah, I think overall there is to be Drew this week, unfortunately for Brent, and with Rance and Bryce. I give it to Bryce. I mean, his team is pretty loaded, unfortunately. Really, his only weak spot is that third flex spot, and he can just plug in a Dunze, I think, this week, or Drake London. They play Carolina. If I was him, though, I'd probably play Dunze coming off a hot game against Dallas. Defense not been too good this week, so we'll see what he chooses to do, though. That's up to him. For Rance, he can probably drop Mr. Koo there. I think he's going to not have a job now, so probably drop him and get someone else. Let's see here. Warren, I think Warren was the guy this week. Yeah, 14 carries. So he's going to be the guy. I don't think he's got anything to worry about with Caleb Johnson just yet. Yeah, and Henderson's had a slow start this year as well. Unfortunately, I thought Henderson was gonna come out the gate and take over, but he is not yet. He may not this year, or maybe not to the back half of the year. So we'll see if Rance has to hang on to him or trade him. All right. Well, that's my projections for this week. Bryce did mention to go and show the projections each week, so I'm gonna do that for our thing. I should have had that up already, so I apologize on that part. So let me go to our playoff calculator. I think that's a good thing to do each week. I like the ELO adjusted. I think it's more accurate. Alrighty, so basically right now we have 4 teams pretty much locked for playoffs, just based on the start of the year here, which is Bryce, myself, Jody, and Pirtle. And then we have really 3 teams kind of fighting for those last 2 spots. Maybe 4 with Isaac. He's at 37% chance to make playoffs. But yeah, Callie, Seegers, and Rance all have a shot there, with Brent and Drew being the long shots. Now, doesn't mean they can't do it, but they've started 0-2, which hurts their chances a lot. And I think this speaks to how good Kelly's team is. He started 0-2, right? But he still has a 59% chance, so he's still in the running. And then to win, Bryce is at 33. However, I'm at 30. I'm catching up to him. That used to be a big wider gap there. So that's kind of our projections for the playoffs and maybe who's going to win. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, well, that's going to be the end of this here. Got to get ready to clock in. One of the perks of working from home is I'm at my desk already, so it's nice. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and then later today I'll do a recap on the redraft league here and do kind of the same thing. Anyone has any suggestions on how to format this or do it better, let me know. Just doing this for fun. Hopefully you all enjoy it. If you don't, that's okay too. It's mostly for me. But yeah, I will catch y'all later.